Have you ever noticed how some women do not flirt in an obvious way? Instead, they quietly test your awareness, especially when you are a man over 50. Women often behave differently around you at this stage of life. They do not want to look needy. They do not want to appear too available or eager, so rather than being direct, they approach things sideways. They ask certain questions. And here is what most men never realize. A woman who feels attraction toward an older man will almost always ask two very specific questions. It is like a message hidden in plain sight, easy to miss if you are not paying attention. Before those questions ever appear, something else usually happens first. Many men over 50 believe they are invisible to women, whether younger women or women their own age. They assume attention fades with time, but the truth is very different. Mature men are often more attractive than ever when they finally understand how women think. The issue is rarely a lack of attraction. It is misunderstanding. It is moving through life assuming she was just being friendly when she was actually opening a door. Women rarely show interest openly. They test your emotional calm, your presence, and your ability to notice subtle shifts. Feminine psychology works quietly and indirectly. When a woman begins to see you as someone she could trust emotionally, physically, and intimately, her energy changes. Her conversation moves from casual exchanges into intentional curiosity. She begins asking questions, and each one is designed to reveal something important about you. Those questions are meant to uncover three things: your strength as a man, meaning whether you are grounded or insecure; your emotional and practical availability, meaning whether there is room in your life for connection; and your awareness, meaning whether you can recognize genuine interest when it appears. This is exactly when the two key questions begin to show up. To understand why these questions matter so much, you need to understand the psychology behind them. Many men over 50 expect clear and obvious signals because they grew up in a time when people spoke more directly. But women today, even mature women, express attraction differently. They do not say, "I am attracted to you," or "I want to get closer," or "I am thinking about you romantically." Instead, they explore, they feel first, they move carefully. Women often ask carefully chosen questions to see if you are a man they can move toward without risking rejection. Here is the quiet feminine fear, especially with older men. If she shows interest too clearly, she worries he will think she is needy, desperate, or trying to insert herself into his life. So she hides her attraction inside curiosity. She places it inside questions that look harmless to a man who is not fully aware. And if you miss them, she usually will not repeat the invitation. Women rarely offer the same emotional opening twice. Feminine psychology is layered and subtle. Women use questions the way men use actions. When a man is drawn to someone, he offers help, direction, protection, or support. When a woman is drawn to someone, she asks a question that gently hints at closeness. There are many questions a woman might ask in everyday conversation, but only two appear again and again when she is carefully exploring intimacy with a mature man. Before hearing them, it is important to understand one thing. She is not asking because she wants to invade your life. She asks because she wants to feel your emotional warmth. She wants to sense something beneath your words. She is feeling for answers like, is he calm? Is he steady? Is he open to my presence? Does he stand comfortably in his masculine, or does he hide behind politeness and distance? These questions are not about gathering information. They are about connection. They create a small emotional pull between you and her. Think of them as bridges she places gently to see whether you step forward with presence or remain on the other side. When you do step forward in the right way, something shifts inside her, mentally and physically. Most men answer these questions at face value. A more grounded man hears what is underneath her words. When she asks them, she is not collecting facts. She is checking alignment. She is checking awareness. She is checking whether you are the kind of man who notices what lies beneath the surface. When a woman feels drawn to you, she does not need you to impress her with money, strength, or stories from the past. She needs to feel that you are present, conscious, and emotionally steady. These two questions matter because they are not random curiosity. They are invitations. The first question she asks a man she desires is meant to reveal one thing: your availability, not your schedule, but your heart. She wants to sense whether your life has emotional space for her. This is not a practical question, it is a psychological one. It is her way of asking, are you open or closed? Can you connect, or are you hiding behind routines and habits? Can I move closer without feeling pushed away? Women do not like wasting emotional energy. They test for openness before revealing deeper interest. This first question is her version of a man leaning slightly closer to see whether a woman leans in or pulls back. But most men miss it because they assume she is simply making conversation. They hear words, but they miss intention. The second question she asks when she wants intimacy is about your direction, not your job title or career history, but your inner direction. She wants to know if your life has purpose, movement, and masculine stability. Women do not open to men who drift. They open to men who are anchored. Men who know who they are and where they stand create a sense of safety. This question helps her feel whether you are emotionally alive. Does he carry stability? Can I feel at ease in his presence? Does he have boundaries, or is he simply floating through life without intention? The second question is not about details. It is about your core. When she asks it, she is already imagining what being close to you might feel like. A woman may feel physical attraction, but she only moves closer when she desires your presence, not just your attention. These questions are especially important for men over 50. By this stage of life, many women assume something about you. They believe you have already lived most of your emotional chapters, so they hesitate to step into your world unless they feel sure they will matter there. These two questions, soft, simple, and almost invisible, are her way of checking whether there is space for her and whether the man she feels drawn to is living with purpose or simply passing time. You might ignore compliments, you might overlook body language, but if you miss these two questions, you miss the moment she is opening a door. And once that door closes, most women do not open it again. When a woman wants intimacy with an older man, not just friendly conversation, but real emotional and physical closeness, she tests the connection with two specific questions. These questions appear across cultures, ages, and backgrounds because they come directly from feminine psychology. The first question is, do you spend a lot of time alone? It sounds innocent, but it is not. It is her way of asking, is there room? Is there space for me in his world? Is he open or emotionally closed? Is he available or locked into habits? Women ask it in many forms. Do you usually go out by yourself? Do you keep mostly to yourself? You seem like someone who enjoys solitude. Is that true? Are you seeing anyone, or are you just doing your own thing lately? This question is never about loneliness. It is about access. A woman asks it only after she has already imagined herself somewhere in your life. She wants to know whether you are emotionally welcoming or unavailable. If she felt nothing for you, she would not care how you spend your time. But when she feels drawn to the calm and stability many mature men carry, she wants to know if she can enter your world without forcing herself into it. Most men answer this question too literally. Yes, I am alone a lot. Not really. It depends. But a grounded man hears what she is really asking. She is checking your openness. She is testing your availability. She wants to know if closeness with you is possible. To respond in a way that builds attraction, stay calm, balanced, steady, and open, never needy. You might say something like, I enjoy my space, but I am always open to good company. Or, I like my routines, but I am open to someone who adds something meaningful. This does two things. It shows emotional openness without desperation, and it gently suggests that she could be someone you might allow into your life. This tone is exactly what women respond to. Open, but not empty. Receptive, but not seeking. Strong without being distant. When you answer this way, she feels warmth, possibility, and emotional safety. And that naturally leads her to the second question, the one that reveals her deeper interest. The second question is, what are you looking for these days? This question is never casual. It is never just small talk. It is a woman exploring you as a romantic possibility. If she felt nothing for you, she would never risk asking something so personal. It feels exposed. It feels intimate. Women reserve this question for men they see as meaningful. She might phrase it differently. What do you want in your life right now? What direction are you moving toward? What are you focusing on these days? What do you want at this stage of your life? What are you hoping to find? Women ask this second question to understand your inner direction. They want to feel whether your life is moving with intention. They want to sense whether you are emotionally awake, grounded, and capable of leading your own life. This is the moment where your presence matters more than your words. For a woman to open emotionally or physically to a man, she needs to feel that his life carries purpose, clarity, and stability. Especially with a mature man, she needs to sense something real and meaningful beneath the surface. She wants to feel that he understands himself, that he knows who he is, that he knows what he wants. He is not drifting through life without direction. He is not stuck repeating old emotional cycles. He is not simply filling time. He moves with intention, awareness, and inner structure. This kind of question helps her see one thing very clearly. Is this man's life moving in a direction where I could walk beside him with trust, safety, and emotional leadership? Does he have emotional purpose, physical purpose, and relational purpose? Is he the kind of man I could safely open my heart to without losing myself? These questions arise because women are wired to sense direction before they invest emotionally. Men who answer too literally often do not realize they are quietly breaking the moment. When a man says, I'm just looking for peace, or I'm taking it day by day, or I'm not really sure right now, she hears something very different from what he intends. She hears uncertainty. She hears drifting. And women do not emotionally invest in men who drift, regardless of age, experience, or charm. If you want to respond with masculine clarity, you do not need a long explanation. You do not need to tell your entire life story. You only need direction. You might say something like, I'm building a calmer, stronger chapter of my life with the right people around me. Or, I'm looking for a connection that feels natural, grounded, and genuine. Or, I'm focused on living with intention, depth, and meaningful experiences. These kinds of responses do three important things at once. They show that you are moving forward rather than stuck. They show emotional clarity. that you know what you want, and they quietly open a space where she can imagine herself fitting into your direction without pressure. This is extremely powerful for a woman. It gives her what she is hoping to feel, proof that you are emotionally awake, not just passing through life on autopilot. Here is something most men over 50 never fully realize. Women want a man who is alive inside, not just physically present, not just available, but emotionally awake, grounded, and conscious. These two questions are deeply tied to female desire. And women do not test men randomly. They test based on emotional readiness. When she asks, "Do you spend a lot of time alone?" she is measuring your openness. When she asks, "What are you looking for these days?" she is measuring your direction. The logic is simple. A man who is emotionally open and moving with purpose becomes attractive on a deeper level. He becomes someone she feels drawn toward emotionally and instinctively. Women do not need perfection. They need clarity. Clarity creates safety, and safety is what awakens desire. This is why these two questions appear again and again across different ages, cultures, and situations. Even when a woman does not consciously understand why she is asking them, the emotional instinct behind them is still present and active. Imagine this in a real-life moment. You are talking with a woman, maybe in a cafe, a bookstore, at a friend's home, or even online. The conversation flows naturally. There is ease, comfort, and a soft tension. She laughs slightly more than necessary. She adjusts her hair. She looks at you with warmth and curiosity. Then, almost casually, she asks, "So, do you spend a lot of time alone?" This is her first emotional step toward you. This is her opening the door just a little. If you respond with presence and calm confidence, she feels encouraged. If you respond with confusion, defensiveness, or emotional shutdown, the energy drops immediately, even if she does not show it outwardly. Later, minutes or sometimes days afterward, she asks, "What are you looking for these days?" This is her second step. This is the moment where she decides whether to move deeper emotionally or quietly pull back. If you answer with clarity, she feels possibility. If you answer with uncertainty, she retreats. Many men believe these moments are random. They are not. They are emotional checkpoints. And women almost never ask these two questions to a man they feel nothing for. These questions only appear when interest already exists beneath the surface. There is something important you should never forget. A woman who wants intimacy will not state it directly. She will not confess it openly. She will not push herself toward you. Instead, she will ask two questions. Are you emotionally open? Do you spend a lot of time alone? And are you emotionally alive and intentional? What are you looking for these days? These questions are not really about your plans. They are about your energy. When you recognize them, you meet the moment with awareness. When you miss them, the moment fades quietly. Women rarely offer the same emotional invitation twice. When they open a door, it usually happens only once. If you remember just one thing, let it be this. A woman does not test your words. She tests your presence and awareness. When you learn to recognize the questions she uses to signal attraction, you stop guessing whether a woman is interested. You begin to feel it clearly in the moment. Women communicate attraction in ways that are subtle, emotional, and often invisible to men who expect obvious signals. This becomes even more important for mature men because women see older men through a different lens. They expect more depth, more emotional presence, and more clarity. A younger man can be confused or inconsistent and still be seen as figuring himself out. But a man over 50 is viewed differently. Women assume he has lived enough life to know who he is and what he wants. That is why their interest shows up through emotional signals rather than bold gestures. When a woman asks questions that touch your openness or your direction, she is not just collecting information. She is trying to feel your emotional world. She wants to know whether stepping closer to you will feel safe, warm, and meaningful rather than confusing or draining. This understanding connects deeply with how women experience emotionally charged moments like Christmas. Christmas is not really about what you give. It is about how deeply you see her, how fully you engage with her, and how intentionally you make her feel valued. Christmas is not only about gifts, lights, or traditions. It is about presence, connection, and the quiet ways we help someone feel seen, appreciated, and emotionally held. For many women, the holiday season intensifies emotions more than any other time of year. Memories, hopes, and expectations blend together, creating an emotional space that feels both beautiful and vulnerable. If you truly want to touch her heart during Christmas, it is not about spending large amounts of money or making dramatic displays. It comes down to simple but powerful things that communicate understanding, care, and emotional closeness. One of the most important is deep listening. Not just hearing her words, but sensing the emotions behind them and responding with calm presence rather than distraction or solutions.